Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In our previous tutorials, we have explored servlets in considerable detail. And in this tutorial onwards, we're going to have a look at JSPs. In order to understand JSPs, we need to have a good understanding of servlets. It's recommended that you go and check out all those tutorials first and then start with this one. So what are JSPs? Before we look at what JSPs are, I'd like to point out one potential problem of using servlets. To be honest, using servlets, you can develop any web application. We have all the required technology to do that. So you can capture any user request in a URL and then assign a particular servlet to handle it. And then any HTML code that you need can be written in the servlet by using the print writer. We've already seen all these things. But there is one potential problem here. Let's take an example website. I have my website open here where I post all these tutorials and it's under the name Java Brains. What does it take to render this kind of a website, this kind of a page in HTML? So we can look at that by doing the right click and go to view page source. It might be different depending on the browser, but the functionality is the same. Now look at the source of the simple web page. This page has just one simple tutorial. We have a set of links here and then a comment box. Now this has a whole lot of code apart from the HTML code itself, and then the HTML code itself is pretty huge. Look at this. It goes on and on and on. Now imagine writing all this code inside a servlet. You'd have to have so many print methods, and then each one of these lines will have to be passed, and there could be chances where the string would break. Say for example, I need to pass this double quote. How would I do that? I would have to escape all these special characters. So while it can be done, it is a pain to do it, and more than the logic which is required to run the servlet, the code which is required to print all these HTML text is going to be huge, and it'll be hell to maintain some servlet like that. So one way to solve this problem is to use JSPs. So this problem of putting all these HTML text into Java print statements was acknowledged, and that was how the concept of JSPs came up. What happens in JSPs is instead of using servlet and Java code and I have HTML text inside that, it works the other way around. You have HTML and you have Java code inside of HTML. So for example, say I have this as a HTML. I have designed it using pure HTML code, no println and all the stuff required. Now I can just print this title using Java code. All these others will be HTML. I can just print this date using Java code. So what happens is only the dynamic portions of this web page will be rendered in Java code, and the static contents of this web page will be in HTML. So we won't have to print each and every HTML line using println statements. So in summary, that's what a JSP does, and that's how it's different from servlets. Now let's create a quick JSP and see how it looks. I'll expand the simple servlet project here. I need the JSP inside the web content. Just like I have a HTML here, I can have JSP files also inside the web content. So I'll right click here, new. You should see a JSP file option here. If you do not see that, again, same as earlier, you should see that in the web folder. So click on this JSP file. Again, I want this in the web content. I will call this as test.jsp. So we're just testing what a JSP looks like. Leave this as a standard, default, finish. Okay, now we have our JSP here. Now how is it different from our HTML? We had a very similar code in our HTML as well. See, this is our index.html, which we generated using the Eclipse wizard. As you can see, there's not a lot of difference between the two. There's only a little bit of code over here at the top. Apart from that, it's all the same. And let's run this JSP. I'll right click on it, run as, run on server. It will deploy and start Tomcat. And I have my window here. And I see the title here because that's the title which is there in the JSP. But there's not a lot happening here. So let me write some text. Okay, so I've written a simple H3 tag with some text just to test that this is working. I'll save this and run this JSP. As you can see, this text is displayed. So this is, so far, it's no way different from a simple HTML. Now, the way it differs is you can write Java code here, as I've told you before. So let's write a quick Java code. In order to write Java code, we need to somehow mark it as Java code so that it does not render it, because otherwise any text that you write here will be rendered as HTML. So the marker for Java code is this set of tags. The first tag that we're going to talk about is this less than % and % greater than. So whatever code you write inside these two tags will be rendered as, will be executed as Java code. So I can write code here like int I equals 1, int j equals 2, int k, and then I can also have k equals I plus j. Basic Java, nothing special here. But the thing is that this can run inside this file, so this will be executed. I'll save this, refresh this. This is actually executing, but we're not printing anything, so we will not see any difference. So in order to see this being executed, what we can do is we can actually print the output of k here, for example, into the output HTML or the output JSP that's over here. So how do I do that? I can use out.println value of ks k. Okay, and if I refresh this output comes up. So here is our first advantage of using JSPs. We have a print output value over here. So we can, whenever you want to print some value, you don't have to get the print writer and all that stuff that you would do in a servlet. You can just use an out object, and this out object is of type JSP writer, and this has a println method, and whatever you send over here is going to get rendered over here. All this is fine, but we can do this in a servlet as well. Of course, we need to initialize the print writer. Okay, here we have it, our earlier servlet. We just have to get a response.get writer, but then after that we are doing the same thing. We're just doing writer.println. It's the same thing over here. Now what's special about JSPs then? Okay, one additional feature of JSP is that since this is such a common thing, out.println is such a common thing, since we are writing HTML text, we would use that a lot. So if the output is not a dynamically calculated value, it can be outside these tags and it will automatically get rendered. We don't have to do an out.println every time. But say if the value is actually dynamically calculated, like in this example, then there is a shortcut to do this out.println. So let me show you that shortcut. I'll remove this. This time we will use a different way to print the value of k. So the initial text over here, the value of k, is this is static text. We don't have to put this inside a script block. So let's just type this here. Okay, plain HTML. This will This will just get rendered as it is. Okay. Now, how do I print the value of k here? There is a shortcut. We use the same script tag, and inside the script tag, I just use equals and the variable name. So let's save this and refresh. There you go. The value of k is displayed. So this is a shortcut you can use for any value. It doesn't have to be a variable, even a static value here. Say I want to print 3, or let me give something else, 34. I want to print directly. Then I just pass it there. It's going to come here. This can even be an expression. Instead of using all these, I can just say equals 1 plus 2. Save. And the value of the expression will be calculated and rendered. So this is a very good way to print values which are dynamically calculated. So you have a script block where you do all these calculations, and you just want to print the output. The part where the output is dynamic, you can enclose it inside these tags and then print that, and then you can go ahead with printing static content over here, and then it automatically gets appended and rendered. So see, this is how it works. As far as user is concerned, they just do not see the difference. It's as if there is this one continuous stream of text that's coming in HTML. Okay, now before we conclude this brief introduction to JSPs, I'll show you one more tag that's handy. There is a declaration tag, which is again the same script tag, but with an exclamation mark after that. Now what this declaration tag does is, say you want to declare a method, then you can put this inside this declaration tag. And this method will be available to all these script tags. You can have any number of script tags like this where you execute code. Now this declaration method will be available to all these script tags. So let's say I want to define a method here saying public add. I'll just have add method which takes 2 integers. I'll save this. Now this method will be available to all these script blocks. Now I can actually open another script block here. And say key equals add of a big number and another big number. And then let me copy this. I have to type this again. Now let me add a new line here. I don't want that to come in the same line. So I'll add a break. Another advantage, you don't have to do out.println break, just put the break outside the script tag, it will get rendered. Now this time I will pass the value of key itself. Save it and refresh. As you can see, this time it's printed that BR, and then the value of k this time is the addition of those 2 numbers that I've put over here. What's happening is, even this script block is referring to the other declaration script block. Here I can have as many functions, as many methods as I want, and it's directly calling this, passing these values, and I'm printing out the value using the script output tag.